Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here going live. Hope you guys are well. Today it is Tuesday, so that means we are going to have a quick little discussion here as we warm things up and get you guys on, and I'll take some questions afterwards. But we'll also mix in some swim videos in there that were submitted, and I critiqued them, sent them the critiques, and so I'll share with you some of the things that are very common errors and some uncommon errors, be quite honest with you. So let's talk about what today is. Today is the last week of August, right before Labor Day. That's kind of the unofficial fall season. School's getting started for the fall semester. But in our world, in my seasonal tactical fitness periodization world, fall doesn't start until like September 22nd. So we got another almost a month of summer left. And in this month of summer, we are peaking. Our running is getting up there, our reps are getting up there, and it is you start to feel it. In fact, this week we don't have a swimming pool. Some guys do, so they're getting a swim on their own. Our swimming pool that we use here locally is getting some maintenance done on it, so we lose it for a week. But we're adding second cardio sessions in the afternoon, and that's a wide variety of activities. That's running more, biking, rowing, elliptical, whatever floats your boat. But we're getting another hour or so of cardio. Some people are adding miles. I'm adding non-impact. In fact, I am doing mobility days every day just because I am feeling the mileage creeping up. And in fact, I wrote this article. I'm going to share this with you a little bit. Share my screen. Wrote this article about our fall transition and what it is. So you guys should be able to see this. So I put the link in the comments section. I'll put the link over here in Instagram as well. So you guys can see the fall season. This is just my fall seasonal tactical fitness periodization model. This is my latest fall season workout. I have probably about 3 or 4 others that are in the pipeline of my books. And this is what happens. So the fall season, we are transitioning out of the summer peak calisthenics and cardio. And we're going to peak. And as the fall gets here, we start slowly reducing the volume, but increasing the speed. And we'll start reducing the volume of repetitions and increasing the weight. And that fall transition takes us right into the winter lift cycle where we focus on strength and power and speed and agility. And we try to maintain our calisthenics and cardio from the previous summer cycle. And then we ramp it back up in the summer and or in the spring and work back up to the same position. So what this enables you to do is, one, not burn yourself out by running 40, 50 miles a week every week of the year. And it just keeps you making sure you don't neglect any weaknesses, because we hit all the elements of fitness throughout that year. And even though we're focused on calisthenics and cardio, there will be a week every 4th week where we throw in some weights, reduce our mileage, just as a little deload from the running and the reps. So it works really well. In fact, this is what our running cycle looks like in the year. So if you look at that article I'm walking you through right now, you kind of see where we are right now. This is August and September down here. So we're right in this zone. I will say this, though, instead of coming down right now, we got another month where our plan is to kind of shift this up arrow a little bit and probably come up here a little in the 40, mid 40 zone on running. And then we're going to start kind of steeply coming down the mileage per week until we get into the middle of the fall, probably October, November timeframe, and we will it'll be getting closer to winter and drop our mileage, but change our speed on that stuff. So that's the cycle we're doing. So if you ever asked about what is seasonal tactical fitness, this article right here just explains the fall transition, but there's a little synopsis on the entire thing. And there's links to more of the seasons of how we do it. And it works. I've been doing it now since I was 30 years old. So this is our 26th year of doing this personally, and probably 24, 25 years of coaching it professionally. And I'd be honest with you, I wouldn't change a thing about the system. However, I have made changes throughout the year, um, general changes, and some of the additions have been really helpful. Though the system has stayed intact with the spring, summer, fall, winter, we've just made some changes with workouts and exercises, as well as the block periodization model, where we throw in a lift cycle in the middle of the summer, just for a week for kind of like a deload. But that's what we do. That is where we are, and we'll be there in a month. So if you want to join us in the fall, um, check us out. That's probably what we're going to be doing this year. I may make a few tweaks to it locally, and if you want those workouts, that's what the Stu Smith Fitness members pages are. They're all what we do. You get an email every week, articles of the week, the video that we created of that week, and all the workouts that we're doing for the whole cycle. Okay. So, a couple questions. Looks like already. Is phase 2 in your Buds Prep workout book? Do we use the exercises you've shown on there and make our own sets with rep? What are you talking about? Do you have the book in front of you? I mean, yeah, there's exercises we picture. That's for just description. There's a big thing of charts in there that tell you what to do. You don't make up your own stuff. Why would you do that? Why would anybody buy a fitness book or watch a fitness video or whatever and make up your own stuff? I mean, yeah, you can personalize it a little bit, I guess, by if it's too hard, you can make it easier. If it's too easy, you can make it a little harder by adding reps and adding sets. Put a weight vest on when you're doing pull-ups. There's many ways, add more mileage or take out mileage and replace with non-impact cardio. So you can personalize these things, but you want to follow the charts as best you can. That's where the magic is. The pictures are just there for, like, in case you don't know what a reverse push-up is. It shows you. All right. So Mr. Singh says, I swim 10,000 meters a week. That's good. But I feel like I'm doing unnecessary stuff. Should I do breaststroke CSS and 1,000-meter swim with fins? I don't necessarily think you need breaststroke, but if you want to practice some breaststroke, it may help you in your future when you're doing the egg beater, perfecting your breaststroke kick. So my advice is this: is do the workouts in the program. If you want 6 days of swimming, that'll get you about 10 to maybe 12,000 meters. These programs have that built into them. So if you have the programs, which I think you do, as I recall, just follow the program. You're going to do 50-50s one day. You're going to swim with fins on leg day. Why is it? Why are you guessing at like what you should do? All right, I just bought it last night. My bad. The Kindle version, I guess, didn't show that on the first page. I don't think I sell this on Kindle. I mean, there's a PDF that you can download. I don't sell it on Amazon, though, I don't think. Went on a run yesterday and got pretty bad ankle issue only on one side. Do you have any recommendations for other options of cardio while I recover, or just push through? I wouldn't push through the pain. I mean, yeah, you can tape it up and go. I've done that countless times when I was playing football and rugby. Kind of sucked. Nothing quite worse than, well, there's plenty quite worse. But if you're a football player and you get injured on a Wednesday, like spraining your ankle, and you continue to run on it and tape it up and you play on Friday, kind of sucks. And I've paid the price because I've had ankle surgeries now. So, um, my advice is just don't run on it. If it, as long as it doesn't hurt, you can walk, jog, just run straight on flat ground. Don't run on anything that's going to roll your ankle. Is that'll really hurt. Um, but I would just bike, be honest with you. That's about all you can do. Maybe bike and row. Swimming hurts really bad. I wouldn't even think about swimming. Went on a run yesterday and got a. Oh, okay, sorry, same deal. What are your thoughts on the omission of the NSW screener for NSA? I talked about this last week. Um, it's only going to be 1 year. The NSW screener will occur for the sophomore class this year. That'll be in May. They just want to move everything, but there's still going to be something else. You just don't know it yet. So just stand by. I don't think the seals on the yard want to skip a screener. So let's just see. They may not call it a screener. They may call it an exposure week. But just stand by. Maybe there's something that'll come up, or at least there's going to be more than just an HPT and a PST that screens you for SOAS. But I wouldn't worry about it, be honest with you. There are countless OCS guys and ROTC guys that apply for SOAS by PST and a phone interview. So the system works that way. It can work for the academy too, though I don't think anybody on the yard wants to see it go away. At least for this class. An exposure weekend would be a good answer, I think. I've seen people do CSS back flat on scissor kick and on their side. Doesn't matter how you do it. Oh, you're saying, do you stay on your side the whole time, or do you roll over on your belly? You back flat on the surface. I see what you're saying. It doesn't matter. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple videos. In fact, with that question, let's share some videos, shall we? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to go into my chats where I have a whole bunch of videos to share. Take this off. All right, so what do we got here? We have a guy who kicks off the wall. Yeah, I think you're a good candidate probably for taking out that double arm pull. That double arm pull is not really helping you. All right, so we got a top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. You can get your cameraman do a little better job. Get some right in front of you. You can see what's going on, but it looks like you're over gliding. Top arm, bottom arm, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Yeah, I shouldn't be able to say 4 in your glide. But your kicks seems to be okay. I think it's just you're over gliding, so you're losing all of your momentum every stroke. Could be a little better, tighter on that streamline. Little work on some shoulder mobility. Yeah, if he just wasn't behind you, I could see actually how far you're gliding each stroke, but it looks like you're getting somewhere with it. It's just slow. So the reason why you're slow is you're over gliding. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Yeah, so I mean you're just almost stopping every stroke. All right, let's see. So we got a good kickoff, kind of plows the surface a little bit, but that's not bad. You didn't lose any momentum. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. I like this. Kick. Yeah, you see that? That's good film in there. See, I can see everything right there, not guessing at how far you're gliding every stroke. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. You could hold the glide a little longer. It looks like you got a decent streamline. Good kick. If you could ever swim in the lane next to the wall, that'd be helpful too. If you send these things in. Look, now it looks like you're not gliding at all. I don't know what happened here, but you must have gotten tired and need to breathe quicker, but you're skipping the glide phase now. Like what happened from here? Top arm, bottom arm, kick, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. At least getting 2 Mississippis here, but watch here. 1 Mississippi. So you just went from okay efficient to just flat out, that looks like you're tired. So I would say that's a conditioning issue, the reason why you cannot hold that glide very long. And try not to plow the water with your back whenever you kick off the wall. You're close to it, but I like the transition. That looked good into the stroke. And so far, this looks really good. Top arm, bottom arm, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull just a little bit early. And then all of a sudden, you're like motorboating over here, not even gliding. Just like, let's add 10 strokes to this length just by not gliding here. All right. So, yeah. This is something that rarely happens. So rarely do I get somebody who sends me something in open water. But it actually works. I guess he's swimming next to a boat. I guess, I'm not sure. Maybe the side of a pier. All right, so watch what happens here. Something I thought was kind of weird. Maybe in open water, this is something you can do, especially if you're swimming a couple of miles. But for 500, you don't want to do this. You don't want to go and change sides right here. See how he kind of changed sides? Watch this. Change sides. Now he's on the same side for a couple of strokes. He changes sides. Yeah, okay. Overall, not bad. I think one of the problems is it looks like, and this is something that I see that happens pretty often. So you see you're getting ready to kick and you're on your side, right? And you kick, you start off on your side, but watch, by the time your legs are closing, watch where they are. You're already on your belly. So what has happened is you're kicking here, and all of a sudden, in the middle of your kick, you turn 90 degrees, and that weakens the power of that scissor kick so much. Because you basically turn a scissor kick into a breaststroke kick almost halfway through, and it's just awkward. And I see it weaken people's glide all the time. Now, another thing, too, is could be a little tighter on that glide. See how your biceps, good couple inches away from your ears. Try to like really squeeze your head with your biceps and put one hand on top of the other, not side by side. It's kind of a nitpicky thing, but it does matter for your glide. And pick a side. Don't change sides on a regular occasion. Though I do appreciate you facing me because I can kind of see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So, not bad. Not bad overall. Minor fixes. Let's see what else we got here. All right, let's show this one. Oh, we got swimming with fins, my favorite. All right, kicking off the wall. Little dolphin kick to get off the wall. I like this. See how he gets that dolphin kick going? Gets the because it's a little awkward when you got these big rocket fins and kicking off the wall. Try to get some momentum. So my advice is kick, dolphin, dolphin, and then start your breathing stroke just to get some momentum off the wall. It matters because you will be swimming with fins in a pool when your first few weeks at Buds, and you may even take a 1,000 or 2,000 meter swim test with fins in a pool, and learning how to kick off the wall does matter. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter in open water, but it does matter. It does matter in the pool of not losing momentum because you just kicked off the wall flat-footed. So now, if you notice what he's doing here, I'll go back to this. Kick, 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 turn, pull, and breathe. Kick, 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 turn, pull, and breathe. That's how you do it. Easy day. We'll watch it one more time. He changes sides for us so you can see how he's looking. So there you go. Kick, 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 pull, turn, and breathe. Easy day. I like it. That's a good one. All right, let's see what else we got here. Did I show this one? I don't remember showing this one. Some reason it's not pulling up. Oh, there we go. I don't think I showed this one. All right, let's see what we got here. Kick off the wall. Good streamline. I like that. Like a little dolphin kick, transitions, no double arm pull. That's fine too. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Oh, no glide. One Mississippi, two. Got to hold that glide, man. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. Yeah, you're pulling that bottom arm when you should be gliding and pulling the top arm. Just makes you stroke more. Right? You can actually, if you get a good kick and a good streamlined glide, you should be able to get almost a body length every stroke with a glide. So you go at least 2, maybe I've even seen 3 yards per glide. You know, especially if you're holding a good 3 seconds and you're swimming a yard per second, you don't lose any pace. Guess what? You're at least gliding a body length if you're 6 feet. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. So you're just under gliding. Then we see an over gliding this time and an under gliding. It's a good combo because both of those things have to do with momentum. And what happened is, I'm going to stop sharing here. What happens with momentum is you either lose it or you waste it. And so you don't want to do either. So you either lose momentum because you're overgliding or you're wasting your momentum because you're undergliding, and you could actually get some yardage without even moving by just holding the glide out. All right. Somebody says, "Hey Stu, I swam 1,600 meters yesterday. Damn. 50K in the last week. I feel great. CSS is in the low 7s. That's way too much swimming. Why? Are you on a swim team? I get it. If you're on a swim team and that's what you guys do for aerobic based training, great. If you're doing this on your own to prepare for Buds, you're 5 times more than what you need. Period. You're wasting time in the pool, in my opinion. You're already swimming 7s. Who cares that you're breaking 7 if you even do? And, if you swim 8, that's still really good. Why are you wasting all your time in the pool? Let's work on some other weakness, which I guarantee you have. If you don't have any other weaknesses, strength-wise, running, whatever, upper body strength, good on you. But you're wasting too much time running or swimming, period. All right, let's see. I've seen people do see it. Oh, did that one? Should I increase the distance on bike to substitute the running distance, or just follow the 6 week program but replace running till the ankle's good? Yeah, my advice is this: anytime you miss a mile, you owe 10 minutes of cardio. You pick whatever doesn't hurt. That means if you're supposed to run 4 miles that day, that means you owe 40 minutes of biking or rowing or whatever combination you'd like. All right, looks like we answered all the questions over here on Instagram. What we got over here on um, what we got here on YouTube? Not for buds, just a challenge at my local pool. Okay, I have no problem with that. Good job, hat trick. Um, just wanted to win, and that was the only way. Hey, man, good job. I have no problem with that kind of competition. Yep, go be the best swimmer you can be. 100%. But as you can see, if you're trying out for any military job, law enforcement job, firefighter job, yes, it's good to be a good swimmer. 100%. You need to be a good swimmer, especially depending on the job you're doing. If you're doing, um, anything with rescue swimming, diving, um, combat diving, those things will require significant pool time. But it also requires so much more. It requires land, athletics, strength and power, speed and agility. A lot of swimmers are horrible on land. So that's why I was um, saying that's way too much swimming. But if you like swimming and that's your thing, go hit it. That's awesome. Jordan says, "Hey Stu, is the cardio on mobility days supposed to be zone 2? Thanks. It can be whatever you want. I have done mobility days as Tabata intervals because it's a 5 minute set of cardio, so you can do it where you're pushing hard, max power on a assault bike. 20 seconds hard, 10 seconds easy, or it can just be real easy and you don't even break a sweat. So I have done both, and just remember right after those 5 minutes, you owe some stretching and foam rolling. And, I have always found that if I go a little bit harder on the cardio, I'm a little bit warmer and it makes stretching so much easier. So instead of just stretching for, an hour, right? And by the end of that hour, I'm cold, right? I've stretched a little bit, but there's some muscles that aren't, my body's not that hot. And it happens sometimes, unless you're in like a hot yoga class or something. Um, so I like to kind of keep my body warm with some bit of cardio before I go into a stretch, foam roll, massage cycle. It just helps. And I will tell you, it's incredible as far as how you feel afterwards. Harry says, I saw you spoke on creatine but missed it. If I use it right now, how far out from shipping should I wean off of it? I mean, you can use it whenever you want, I guess, but I just don't be dependent on it. A lot of people go get creatine and all these supplements, and then they get big and strong, and then they're forced to like stop lifting because they got to work on their calisthenics, they got to work on their running, got to work on their swimming, and they lose all their gains, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm losing my gains. Woe is me." Um, I always tell people this. I was like, if you are worried about your gains and you use that phrase with me, I don't think you're that serious about doing this job, because I was a powerlifting football player that cared so much about how much I was lifting and how fast I was running and all of those things. And when I transitioned out of that and into, I'd been lifting since 13. So I've been lifting pretty hard for 7, 8 years before I went to Buds. I quit lifting for a good year just so I could be a better muscle stamina and cardio guy. So triathlons were my thing and calisthenics were my thing for a good 18 months. And I still played rugby, but I didn't lift. I didn't think I needed it. I was strong enough. Um, and I wasn't on any creatine. So I didn't have a crutch of feeling like I needed creatine to be strong. That's all I'm saying about the creatine physiological and psychological dependence on it. Is sometimes people get it, and when they're not on it, they're I'm so weak. It's not good when you're going through a high attrition rate program when you have those negative thoughts about your performance. So I don't think you need it personally. And if you're training for spec ops, you definitely don't need it. How can I get? I mean, I will say this: we've had a few guys who needed to put on weight and get stronger in a winter lift cycle. They were on protein and creatine and eating extra foods, and they put on 15 pounds over a winter lift cycle, and we were able to keep them fast, and they needed a little bit extra weight. So in that sense, I was like, okay, cool. And then when we started training again in the spring with running and calisthenics and cardio, that all they had to do, they got off the creatine and all they had to do was just eat more calories so they wouldn't lose that weight. And they didn't, you know. I mean, they might have leaned out a little bit because they were a little bulky. Um, so they probably dropped like 5 of that pounds, but they had 10 solid pounds of muscle they put on, which is really good, which what they needed. So, how can I get a better way with rocket fins? How can I get way better with the rocket fins? It is by far my weakest point at SOAS. Do you have a good YouTube video up? My advice is it's ankle mobility, ankle strength. So, I mean, we swim with fins 2 to 3 times a week, mostly twice a week, and we do it on leg days. Every leg day, we are swimming with fins. Now, there may be a third when we do what we call the Spec Ops Triathlon in here, which is a 4 mile run, 4 mile ruck, 1 mile swim with fins. So that may be our third one for the week, but for the most part, we just do 2 a week. And you got to do it. I mean, if you're not swimming with fins, you're going to get weaker and your ankles are going to be less mobile. So work on ankle mobility. That will take some of the pain away from it, and you'll be able to actually use your hips versus looking like you're riding a bicycle. But yeah, there are countless videos on YouTube, Reels, and TikTok of me coaching people with swimming. And you may see it, someone looking like they're riding a bicycle. So my advice is this: swim yourself 100 yards, have somebody walk alongside the pool with you while you're doing it, and I can tell you what you're doing right or wrong with your hips, if you're bicycling, if you're not kicking big enough, because you got to remember, these fins aren't meant for speed. You will probably be faster without them than with them. Now, where they matter is power to get through open water currents, because if you don't have fins on, you're trying to swim against a 1 knot current. Guess what? You're probably going to go backwards. Might be able to stay in one spot if you're really good. But when you got those fins on, you're just powering right through it. That's why they matter. So you got to get your ankles stronger and more flexible so you can use your hips, and your hips need to be powerful too. So start working on your hip flexors and work on treading with fins, using actual flutter kicks, not these little bicycle things that a lot of people do, because that's not helping you. You got to build power in your hips in order to go faster with fins. I don't know. Somebody said they had to hop off, missed a question response. Yeah, I answered that one. It's a standard answer I always give. If you um, if you miss a mile of running, you do 10 minutes of cardio for every mile you miss. And that would be biking if you have a sprained ankle. But these are always up on YouTube, and you can see yesterday's show up on YouTube. You can see last month's live Q&A sessions on YouTube. They're up there like a library for you. Somebody says, sorry, I did not see if you answered this question, but what should I do if you are not moving in a straight line during the CSS? Well, if you're on your side and you keep swimming, I call it swimming like a banana. It's largely because your shoulder mobility is causing you to look like a banana when you kick. So when you kick and glide and you're shaped like this in your glide phase, not this, guess which way you're going to go? Whoop. You know, if you were blacked out, you'd probably swim a circle in about 5 minutes just by veering to the right. And that's because your shoulders are not straight when you glide. So shoulder mobility is the answer to that. I'm about to go do the PST right now. Any tips? Yeah, pace yourself. That's the biggest tip there is. In fact, I want you to read this if you have time, because it will change the way you look at the PST. So read this article. I call it the PST Clinic. And it is very helpful. It'll show you how to pace the swim, how to pace the calisthenics, especially the sit-ups, because that is a pacing drill, not a sprint. And then you pace the run. You got to know your pace. Stu, are you disqualified if you splash with your feet during the CSS? I mean, you could be, but typically you're not. You know, some people will, just take the CSS and do the whole thing, and no one cares if your elbow's high or if you're making a big splash. But technically, if an instructor wanted to say you're sharking or you're making splashes with your feet, you're disqualified, they could do that. And you'd have to figure it out. So my advice is this: if you're splashing with the CSS, my advice is actually stay on your side so your feet stay underwater. You're not on your belly when you kick and that back foot comes out. Or if you're doing a breaststroke kick, roll over on your belly so you're not on your side doing a breaststroke kick. And that top leg comes out. All right. Looks like I've answered all the questions here. You guys have any others? Got a few more minutes and then I do need to go. Got to get my day going. So my next show, it will be the Never Quit Mindset show over the weekend. We have a Never Quit Mindset show that I do live. It's a live Q&A again, but I'm calling it the Never Quit Mindset podcast, where I share an incredible never quit story at the beginning. This next one, I'm probably going to do Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning book, and discuss his story, which is a really good one. If you haven't heard about it or read it, you should. And we will discuss that. I'll break it down a little bit. I'm interested in SDV teams. I was told I'm going to be a cab driver. Well, I mean, you can look at it this way, because I liked SDVs. I enjoyed them. If you like scuba diving, you will love SDVs. And there are operations you do off that submarine that don't require the the SDV. So you're not always a cab driver like someone says. But there are SEALs in the back, SEALs in the front that are driving it, SEALs in the back that are going to go do the ops, and they're part of the SDV team. So I don't really get it. It's a viable insertion and extraction platform that is extremely stealthy, and in some situations, it is the go-to choice for many spec ops missions. So, depending on what you're doing, usually surveillance, intel gathering, things like that. But you can look at it this way: Are you just a SEAL, or are you a SEAL that is SDV qualified? Think of it that way, because you're not a cab driver. You're a SEAL who specializes in SDV missions. I just hear that article is called the PST Clinic. So check out this. I'll put it in here. You guys can see over here on the comment section. All you got to do is Google Stu Smith PST Clinic, and you'll be good to go. In my country's military, we take supplements. Should I? There have been some guys dying in selection due to dehydration, and they are rumored to be on creatine. Yeah, you don't do it. I mean, we have banned them for over 25 years because of that. I've seen it happen. I don't know if you saw my creatine show yesterday, but read my creatine article that I just put up on military.com. And yeah, there's a reason why. I mean, it's written in failure. Reason why people they're not allowed any supplements anymore. Just got your cows and cardio program to train for Coast Guard. Thrilled to start that. Need to find a deeper pool than 5 feet for drown proofing, though. Yeah, that would be helpful. You can still tread, though, and do some underwaters and things like that, which would be helpful. But this is a good workout. This has a beginner, intermediate, advanced program. The advanced program, I've had people who couldn't handle the phase one, like they couldn't even finish a PST. So I didn't start them out here. I started them with this one. I had a little intermediate phase for like 6-7 weeks, and then it went into an advanced calisthenics and cardio. And it's largely based on the Navy PST because you're going to be running, doing calisthenics. There are biking options if you can't run, and swimming. There are other cardio options if you can't swim. But if you do the run, swim, and the calisthenics, guess what? You're going to do much better on the PST. And it's a great kind of beginner into intermediates guide to the PST. And some people had a way above average because it's about 18 weeks long if you do from beginning to the end. And, that's plenty of time to crush a PST. Jordan says he loves the Never Quit podcast. Thanks. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And the fun thing about it is when you title something Never Quit Podcast, I mean, that puts some pressure on me to not quit and be a good example to not quit something that I said I was going to do. So I don't care how many people listen. I'm going to do it and talk about it and, um, sell more Never Quit mindset books. And there's ebooks, there's audiobooks, and there's a course that goes with about a 5-hour video course of me breaking down every chapter and then discussing some Never Quit mindset stories in between, little 5-minute segments in between each chapter. It's comes out to about 5 hours of coursework if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Looks like I got all the questions in. I appreciate your time today. Look for me over the weekend. Not sure what day, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's a football game weekend this weekend, so it might not be Saturday. But you guys have a good one. I'm looking forward to finishing this summer. Be honest with you, the mileage is getting a little high, and I'm feeling it in my hips. And looking forward to getting into the fall, reducing some of those miles and adding some weight to the equation. All right, folks, I will chat with you later, and hope you guys have a good day. If I missed any of your questions, just send them to me, Stu at StuSmith.com, and you can also check out StuSmithFitness.com, and you will see tons of programs, tons of great articles in there, as well as you can save 15% using a live 15 coupon code. So appreciate your time. You guys have a good one.